Dr. Eric, thank you for tuning in to listen to this hopefully 7-minute-ish speech, which might seem long for a concession speech, but I think it's important that I take the time to talk about a few things. So, right off the bat, I want to do two things. First, I want to be very thankful and show my gratitude because I am incredibly grateful. For those of you who voted for me or who supported me, I know I had quite a few people who supported me who weren't in my district, and I'm very grateful. And when I say support, I mean you promoted me. You shared what I was saying. You reached out to me and told me that you appreciated my stance, etc. So that's what I'm talking about. I did not take any money for this campaign, and I'm glad I didn't, especially now, because that was one of the things I said was I would feel bad taking money and utilizing it for a campaign if I did not win. So I'm grateful that I did not. I'm grateful that I stood entirely on my own for my financial commitments. Therefore, my actions were committed to what my beliefs were, nothing more. So with that said, the next thing I want to do after giving thanks to all of you is to immediately show my support for Sean Kaufman. So I'm endorsing Sean Kaufman for the Board of Education for District 5. And I'm going to go into more detail as to why that is in a minute. And that's why I thought I would take a few minutes to talk. But I have already reached out and I've invited him to come and sit with me here and do an interview because I would like an opportunity to help him kind of clear any concerns that people might have about voting for him. I want to give him an opportunity to use my platform to grow his support because I believe he is, in this runoff that's coming in a few weeks in June, I believe he is your best choice for the District 5 Board of Education seat. And I want to make sure that it's clear as to why that is. So we're gonna hopefully do that. And we're going to have an opportunity to kind of build people around his campaign. Now, that said, I also wanted to take the time to talk about one of the things that I had talked with my wife and a few other people about over the last few weeks, where I kind of felt like, I don't know if I'm going to move forward in this campaign. I came in late and didn't necessarily commit as much revenue, funds, dollars to the campaign as I think might have been necessary in order to move enough people, mobilize. And I said, but you know what? I don't know that God's plan for me in this was to actually do more than what I've done. And I really feel that way now. I feel as though my purpose was to do a couple things. One, to create pressure, and that pressure being pressure on the board, pressure on candidates, pressure on constituents to do a number of things. And for the most part, I could sum all of those things up as to reflect on oneself and where they sit and what their responsibility is to others. That's how I'd sum it up for all of those parties. So that said, I'm not done. I'm not leaving. I'm actually going to keep this part going, this communication going. I've had a number of people who've come to me and asked to be interviewed, and that's even as late as yesterday evening when the writing was on the wall. And so I realized that I'm not gonna just stop and step away. I think there's an incredible importance to what work was being done by my campaign, myself, and the others that supported me, as well as others who campaigned in other different races around the county that did not come through and haven't won, aren't going to a runoff. And so we're going to keep this part going. We're going to keep bringing things to light. I believe this county is under some incredible stress right now, and the county is at risk of not continuing on the path that it's been on for the last 2 decades. So my goal would be to stand in that position and help to ensure that that continues. And I'd rather be in a position where I feel as though I have an opportunity to create greater influence or to have greater influence, create greater pressure, than in one where I'm the one who's basically just kind of taking the pressure. I think there's more value to what I can do on this side of a camera, sitting here doing this. So anyways, that said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the candidates, but I want to share one more thing. I had mentioned this in a couple of videos, that there's a prayer that I pray on a daily basis, and I have for years now. It was Dr. Todd Pennington was a chiropractor who joined me early on when I started Health Sprout here in Woodstock, and I opened a practice in Roswell, and Todd kind of helped with both of those. And then he later moved back to Ohio, where he was from. But Todd, he's the one who had encouraged me to pray the prayer of Jabez, or Yabez, however you want to pronounce that. And I have kind of, I guess, paraphrased that for years, and I wanted to share it, and I wanted to share what I think is, just one of the most important convictions that people can have. So, God, I ask you to grow my influence. Please fill me with influence around my area, around my geographic area, around the area that I work in. God, please grow my influence so that I can, in return, grow your kingdom. God, give me influence over others so that I can move people to grow your kingdom. And I ask God, hold me accountable so that when you are growing my influence and you are growing my opportunities, and if I am not growing your kingdom, please, 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 make it obvious. Put something in my face, put a roadblock, put a hurdle, put something in my way so that I will be convicted to restoring my efforts towards the kingdom. That's basically my prayer, in some paraphrase like that every day. And over the years, I believe that I have been blessed immensely with my influence, and in exchange, I feel as though I have given very little compared to what I should towards growing the kingdom. So I always feel like it's an equitable and inequitable relationship that I have as it relates to that prayer. But at the same time, I feel as though that prayer has been answered endlessly. So with that, I believe that is really what this opportunity has been for me now, and why it's been presented to me is a presentation of an opportunity in front of me to continue to grow influence in this county, but in doing so, to then turn around and invite everyone who I see or don't see or who hear me to investigate what it is to be a Christ follower. Just investigate that. Don't judge it. Don't go in with any kind of expectations. Just investigate. So, all right. Now that said, we've got two candidates that are out there. We've got Sean Kaufman. We've got Aaron Ragsdale. I believe Aaron is a great person, a great individual. I have nothing personally against Aaron at all. So I want to clear that right up front. I do believe Aaron is seen as the person who will simply kind of go with the flow. We'll just accept, what is CCSD today will be CCSD forever. And for that reason, I think that she would be a fine candidate for those who don't fear that there's any negative change happening in CCSD over the last 2 to 10 years. And if that's the case, if you think it's just amazing, it's all peachy, then okay, there you go. I don't agree with that. I think that there's been a decline in the quality of the education. I believe there's been a decline in the moral and ethical code. I believe there's been an increase in the things that are going wrong inside of the high schools. And ultimately, I feel as though the graduates that are coming out of CCSD are less capable than the classes before them. And I believe that just takes, and even if that's wrong, even if I'm wrong, I believe it takes someone who's willing to dig and press and dig and press and dig and press to ensure that that doesn't become the future. And I believe that person is Sean Kaufman for District 5. I believe he's the guy who will ensure that there is pressure, that you can't become complacent, that there's competition, and ultimately that's what you need to ensure the highest level of capacity, the highest level of achievement, that you're always striving to do better and not becoming complacent. And so I believe that's Sean. I believe there are some other candidates around the county that could have helped with that, and those other candidates that I think might have been better at helping with that are not going to be in runoffs. So I really think this is kind of the last hope for the board to have at least one person on it who is giving pressure in the direction of, hey, we need to be testing and challenging ourselves to be the best that we can be in order to ensure that we still are the best that we can be. So, and with Sean, the only reason why I opposed Sean when I met him and I kind of came around him and saw his candidacy was that I wanted to have more ability to have pressure on the medical position of the CCSD, the board, than I felt that Sean would have. But now, as I've had a chance to kind of see and hear him over the last 2 months, I believe that he has all of the right ideals as it comes to or as it relates to medical freedoms, freedom of choice as it relates to masking, testing, quarantining, etc. So I do think he is the best candidate that we have for District 5. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get our schedules synced up and get him here. And when that happens, you obviously will all be the first to know. So, all right. Hey, thanks again so much for the support. And again, don't say goodbye to me because there is no goodbye. I actually already requested a name change for my Facebook page so that it's going to be Dr. Eric Richards for the benefit of Cherokee County, not running for Board of Education. So, but it's not disappearing. All right. Have a wonderful day.